everybody, and welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle Bodybuilding fans around the world. I'm Tim Wilkins, as always joined by the real deal.
The real deal in the house.
Chris Cormier. Looking fly as always. I'm dropping that. You told me I could say fly.
God. Oh, yeah. You want to see
what do we got for
That
kicks?
makes you want to see the shoes.
What do we got for kicks today,
You always want to see the shoes. We the best at Primetime Muscle.
Yes, and you could feed a village with each of those shoes. What are those? Air
Size 14.
14.
What is the cost of those shoes, Chris?
Well, these was kind of high when I got it.
Did they have a comma?
It dropped down.
Give us the numbers, like $400, $500.
5 something.
5 something on a pair of shoes.
Well, I had to look fresh for the show.
That is very fresh.
I do everything I can to make this successful. Drop in the comments, guys.
You know what?
Let us know. Let us know how you're digging the shoes, guys.
We appreciate the sacrifice. Tarek Elgindi, and you've chosen a very eclectic look today as well.
Tim.
Off the rack.
Listen, Tim.
Off the rack.
I know this jacket looks expensive, but it's not. Okay.
No one said
I got it at Nordstrom Rack for $60. And I'm happy with it. I do not have the kind of paper that Chris Cormier has. I gotta be economically sound. I got a wife. I got kids. All I can get is a $60 jacket at Nordstrom Rack.
Well, I don't have crumb snatchers running around.
Yeah,
right now.
my kids, they take all my money. I got a wife. She likes Restoration Hardware. You know, it's over for me. You know,
Restoration Hardware. That's the place that sells doorknobs that cost as much as your shoes.
I get it.
So you each have your own habits.
She likes Restoration Hardware, bro. And you can go on Wayfair and buy the same thing for like a third of the price. You know?
But the people in Temecula would know if she went on Wayfair.
Oh, yeah.
You would be,
she has,
yeah.
It's the housewife of Temecula. They all go. I'm going to drop their names right here, okay?
Do that.
I'm going to, because they're wasting all their husband's money. Heather, my wife, Kristen, Natasha, Kelly, Stephanie, Sarah, all of them, the real housewife of Temecula.
They sit around like that?
You girls are driving your husbands to bankruptcy, okay?
Well, now that he's rattled off names like it's a rap song, let's get down to business. So, Hadi's sat in that number 2 position at the Olympia for a couple of years, biding his time, improving, bringing the same conditioning, if not better, each year, and claimed that title in 2022. But we know that for everybody trying to hold on and retain that title, there's those hungry young wolves and hungry young lions coming up behind them. Who's our lions, and what do we have to do? Because it was
the first off is Derek Lunsford, and you know he's lacking maturity as the champion has. That's probably one of the biggest minuses he has if he's looking to move up in the rankings. 3 different body parts, well documented. The abs need to improve. Need to pay close attention to that. And his quadriceps can be more striated, and I know they can. And I think next year they should be. If you are going for that title, you got to have all that diced out, because the guy who you're trying to beat is matured and has a lot of reps under his belt and a lot of years of competition under his belt. And that's his first year in the Open, so.
Well, that's a big point.
He's going to look.
That mature muscle belly and that depth, those striations, when you're coming up 25, 30 pounds year over year, just can't possibly be there. It just can't.
My question to you, Tim, is this. Everybody talks about Derek Lunsford, with the years, acquiring more muscle maturity. What in the world is Hadi Choopan going to be doing in the same years? He's just going to be working out like he has.
But he's looking at him that he may be hitting the wall pretty soon. He might be the Tom Brady of those guys.
Chris.
Because he does have a lot of reps under his belt.
Chris.
I'm just saying that's the mentality
just listen
you're going
to
to have
me. Maybe
to have.
learn something in this life.
Yeah, okay.
Bodybuilding is a traditional sport. Phil Heath won 7 titles. Arnold Schwarzenegger won 7 titles. Lee Haney 8. Jay Cutler 4.
So Derek shouldn't even try.
Can I just finish?
Derek shouldn't even try until
I appreciate the fact that I'm finishing my point.
Derek's got to snatch it.
Bodybuilding is a traditional sport. If you want to go to Las Vegas, let's suppose we go to Las Vegas and you want to make a bet in bodybuilding, you always make a bet on the champion.
Right.
Simply because of history. you don't have that many changes in bodybuilding.
So we shouldn't try and tell.
No,
Well, no, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but if you look at statistically the numbers, you have a guy that's Mr. Olympia.
That's great
The tendency statistically is for him to repeat. Ronnie Coleman repeat. Johnny Cutler repeat. So if you want to make a safe bet, if you're on the stock market, you go ahead and you put your money on the current champion, and your odds are in favorite.
Now, odds are favorite, but we went Sean Roden, Brandon Curry, Rami, Hadi.
You trying to put me on the spot right now?
I just did, and that was you know what?
That was a mic drop.
That was
You're trying
Sean
to put
Ray.
me on
Check
the
me out, man. I'm
spot.
learning from you.
then.
You're trying to put me on the spot right now.
Yeah, if you're a judge, then
No. I like that, Tim. I like how
That's good.
you're
That's
trying
right.
to protect your boy, Chris Cormier.
I gave you a jab to the face.
You're trying to embarrass me on national
It was a
television.
jab to the face. That's
He's
all.
trying to embarrass me on national
was a
television.
jab
What do
to
you
the
got?
face.
Sis? What do you got, Jimmy the Greek? What do you got?
What are you gonna do with that jab?
Okay. This is too.
So we shouldn't try because it can never happen. That's all I was saying.
Hey, man, just give me a second, and I'm going to elaborate.
Okay,
on
Mr.
this.
Think for a minute to dig himself out of this hole.
Judge.
There are phases in the history of bodybuilding, and we've experienced that when we had Chris Dickerson, when we had Samir Banu, when we had those guys winning, separate
The
years.
1 and 2 offs.
Correct. So there are phases
Jackson.
between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lee Haney. We had a phase where we had, a little bit of parity. And we might be living that moment. However, I am very hesitant to say that Hadi is a one and done. Hadi Choopan, Azizam, as I call him, is a phenomenal bodybuilding with incredible consistency on his conditioning. He gained size. He's also had the muscle maturity. People talk about Derek Lunsford. He's going to get muscle maturity. And I had a live with Derek Lunsford. I said, well, what do you think? You think you're going to be working out for a whole year and Hadi Choopan is going to just stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Hadi is one of the hardest working guys that you ever want to see in the gym. He was back in the gym soon after the competition was over.
Look at those abs, guys. Is he going to stop doing abs? No, he's going to have maybe even better muscle maturity.
Well, I think he was he had those abs from the get-go.
But look at this. Look at the separation of the quads and the striations in the upper chest. He's not even hitting the upper chest. He's between poses, which you judges look for.
Absolutely. And he's the one that hits the poses better than anybody. He's not going to unlearn that stuff. He's going to be even better.
But
Look at this.
He could even make some of those poses even better. Even if you go back with that three-quarter back he just did, that shot. Go back there, buddy. Go back. Yeah, I see you. One more pose.
Oh, that looks good,
One more pose. Go back. Keep coming. That right there. Stop. Go back a little bit there. So he never really utilizes this bottom lat. That should be fully extended, and that's going to give you
wrap around.
Yeah, if this is extended, that's just going to make this physique so much more impressive. And I would spend time in that shot. He didn't spend much time even in that shot to even make the best of it. You want to show all your different strengths, and that would have been a great strength for him.
All right, we'll roll forward.
Let's roll it.
Thank you very much. And, you talk about it, and I've talked to you about this, I've talked to Sean Ray, I've talked to a couple other guys about how much he must be posing to get those fine tissues to start to appear and that maturity in the muscle.
It's probably years and years of posing is what it is. It's been etched in for a long time. He's been one of the greatest conditioned guys we had in the sport, and most, I would say, consistent at it in the last 5 years. So, it's going to be hard for him to lose that title if he just keeps doing what he's doing and improving with, as the years come. This wasn't even the hardest he's been. So we know that he's capable of coming way harder than this.
Now, you're still our resident historian. When we move on and look at Derek, we think about Nick. We think about Samson, who brought it. Andrew Jack, who's still so young. We think about those guys. What is that prime years when you're talking about a balance between muscle maturity and starting to fade? It's what, 32 to 38?
I'll have to say yes. Around your early 30s to your late 30s, you're probably peaking in bodybuilding. In your late 30s, then injuries. You might be prone to injury. And then in your late 20s, you still don't have the muscle maturity. Obviously, it depends on how long the person. When people start talking about Hadi, the tendency is to talk about Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford because we just love those young guys, all Americans. Stop right now. This is the Mr. Olympia. This is the best bodybuilder in the world. This is the guy that years before he won the Mr. Olympia, we were bragging about his conditioning. This is the guy who has a statue in his country. This is the guy whose stakes are higher than just winning a title. He's representing his country. This is the Persian Wolf. Anybody that thinks he's a one and done and thinks he's going to go away quietly is pretty dumb.
That's something it is very interesting to think about. In America, we don't give the recognition that we should for some of the accomplishments in bodybuilding. But when Ramy went back to Egypt, it was parades in the streets and feasts for days. Mm-hmm. He's now got a statue, you said, on the coast of Iran?
He has a statue, and his age indicates that he might be peaking. So people talk, well, Derek Lunsford is going to acquire muscle maturity. This Persian Wolf is right now at the gym beating that muscle like he's been doing for years. Oh, Nick Walker, he's getting better. What do you think he's doing? He's also getting better. He's the one that improved on size more than anybody.
Like in the country like Iran, the Middle East, that's all you do is bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is what you do on a daily basis. It's not like here in America where you may get sidetracked doing other things. That's on the mind of the Middle Easterns. I know that for sure.
That's a great point, Chris.
Even when I was in Kuwait, the thing we did, and Kuwait wants to come back and get some more notoriety going on with their gym, the Oxygen Gym. But when I was at Oxygen Gym, we went to the gym, we went to eat, we went to the mall for fun, maybe a movie here and there, maybe. But bodybuilding was the thing to do, and that's where you get in great shape out there.
Tarek is usually the one that does the amazingly shameless plugs. I'm going to jump in and say that right then. One of the ways, this is the show of the pros, and we love having you watch and follow, like, and comment. We hear from you at the shows, pros. But Oxygen Gym, if you want to stay out there and let the pros know this is the place to come and seclude yourself and train and take yourself to that mega next level for this next and upcoming Olympias, Oxygen should probably sponsor the show. Oxygen should be maybe one of the sponsors of Primetime Muscle. Just putting it out there, Oxygen.
That's right.
That's a good point. I want to go back to what Chris said about the Iranians. These are some of the most passionate, strong people in the planet historically. You're talking about the Persian Empire. This is the kind of people that have gone through war. 7 years war where close to 1 million people have died during their conflict against Iraq. These people, their blood is hot. I judge everywhere in the world, in Romania, in Brazil. I just had an Iranian guy that went down to Brazil and he won the classic physique show in front of all the Brazilians. These guys have no problem dieting. They have no problem lifting more than anybody. The Persian people, they are the most passionate people in this planet. This guy is not going down without a fight.
Well, you heard it first.
Well,
let's get it.
We'll see. It's his to really maintain at this level with the conditioning he's been bringing the last few years. Then it's up to who can gain and where do they go from there. And I always love, as a horse racing fan, I love those horses on the outside that are a couple lengths back that just make that big charge. The Samson Daudas, the Andrew Jack, the bottom half of the top 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those guys that could shock us all next year. But this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because like you said before, going in, the whole top 10, we didn't know where they were going to stack up, but they all had potential to be in the top echelon of the sport.
Well, we'll find out more, and we love to continue this discussion. As always, shoot us your thoughts, especially if you're being translated the show in one of the many languages, Portuguese in Iran. What it is?
Farsi.
And Bader Budai. Let's see you guys at Oxygen Gym. Bringing out some champions.
I
want to see it.
We'll talk more about champions when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
All right, we're back on Primetime Muscle, and we just went from men's open to men's physique, guys. Over the years when I've trained, and I'm I'm not shy about this, I like the motivation of watching the videos, the music and the voiceover, the intensity of when I'm on the cardio deck, just getting fired up before or after a workout. And one of the guys I've been following for a long time is Jeremy Buendia. It's always good to see him. I saw him at the Olympia this year. He looks like he's going for classic physique, but the word on the street is, and from Jeremy, he's coming back. Chris?
I mean, I've known Jeremy when he was bodybuilding. I had a couple of competitors go against him in middleweight bodybuilding. I beat him in the Cal, beat him in the LA Championships, I believe, at the time. And then he started to talk about going into the classic division, physique division, And Tim, I mean, he had such a wave of popularity that it was the first Bumstead, the first of the new guys that was coming up. He was the first guy to have that type of following behind him, and a lot of people don't like success. And he was very successful. And I know you don't get a lot of friends when you're that successful and that pulverizing as he was. So, I mean, he's going to have a lot of people hoping that he fail and possibly a lot of people hoping that he succeeds.
As a judge and as a fan of the sport, what do you think of a potential comeback?
Well, let's look back at his history. He turned pro at the Junior Nationals when the men's physique category was coming out. He was already a bodybuilder. He understood bodybuilding. And when the men's physique came out, he utilized that moment and he transitioned quickly, turned pro at the Junior Nationals. I actually had a chance to judge him as an amateur where he won the LA Championships in one of the first men's physique shows. Jeremy Buendia, like Chris said, he was the first Chris Bumstead in terms of popularity on social media. And this is quite interesting because people fell in love or didn't fall in love with Jeremy, but he was a movement, man. I mean, I started judging shows, and till this day, I judge shows and men's physique competitors all over the world, Asia, Brazil, Europe, Middle East. They pose like Jeremy did when he won the Olympia. He would put blue shorts, and then you would go to the next NPC show, and 100 guys would be wearing blue shorts. He was a movement. He also had this Conor McGregor attitude. He got into disagreements with Brendan Hendrickson. He got into fights, and he never
backed down.
He never backed down. He was the rebel with a cause. He goes, "You say negative things about me in the internet. Shut up.
I'm coming at you.
I win shows. You are nobody." And man, I mean, listen. Some people, they didn't like that, but shut the hell up. Who doesn't like a guy with an attitude? We loved Muhammad Ali. Michael Jordan had an attitude. I always tell these guys, nowadays Aaron Banks has an attitude. Jeremy was awesome, and he was dominant. And now he announces that he make a comeback. I was on a live with him and Aaron Banks. And both of them have an attitude.
So Chris and Tarek, here's the big question. So you look at guys like this, and I love how big Jeremy's getting. But we talk about training specifically for men's physique and not losing those lines. When you're, I don't know, what's Jeremy, 5'7", 5'8"?
5'8".
So 5'8", he's running about 200, 205, maybe 210 right now, which probably wouldn't make weight if he was hard right now, he wouldn't make weight for classic. But my point being, you've got Aaron Banks, you've got Brandon Hendrickson, you've got Raymond, you've got Kyron Holden,
Charjo Grant, and Ivan Palmeira,
who they just did a lovely write-up on for his service in the military.
The military man, Charjo Grant. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Kyron is kind of going to classic.
He is. We're going to talk about that in the future. Yeah. So, but my point being, do you lose the lines getting too big at 5'8" compared to these monsters at 6'1" to 6'3" that have those capped shoulders with a back about 3 football fields wide that goes down to a waist about 26 inches?
You very easily could, Tim, and that's something he's going to need to pay close attention to because, I actually trained Jeremy on different times of his life, and even most recently during the pandemic and everything. Not that we were training in gyms during the pandemic, but
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, wink, wink. But he has a heart of a lion. He's willing to work hard. He's just going to have to pay attention to the detail of his physique, and that's what he's going to need, because when he competed before, that was a whole different class of competitors that we have now. And everyone kept getting better and better and better, and then so he's going to go up against and clash up against the new guys that's been there.
Well, boss man, here's a question, because I think it was 2016 or 17 was his last Olympia as Mr. Olympia. Because then I know we've been battling for 6 years.
Maybe 2017.
2017. So when you talk about a look that has evolved, you judges, you have a look that you're looking for, but each year you set the gold standard with whoever wins the Olympia and say, everybody underneath that should look close to that shape. Has the look of a men's physique competitor evolved past the blockiness necessarily of Jeremy?
So Jeremy, when he was winning, if you look at the first year he was winning and the last year he won, he was getting bigger. Tim, there's something that most people don't understand. It's literally impossible to tell people to stop working out. It's impossible. I can't tell you, if you win the Olympia, say, hey, your physique is just about perfect. You don't have to do anything. Don't even work out for an entire year. Have you seen bikini competitors? They're taking arm bicep shots, and it's a good thing that people fall in love with working out forever, that they want to work out, that they want to acquire muscle. One of the biggest problems we have in society is men and women losing muscle after 60. Some of these guys that continue to work out, they don't have a problem. Obviously, we have our criteria, right? But there is an evolution. When you look at Larry Scott, when he won the Olympia, he's a lot smaller than guys nowadays. Is anybody looking at the criteria of bodybuilding and going, oh my God, these guys are so much bigger than Larry Scott. We need to go back to Larry Scott, 1965. No. I mean, look at the three-pointer in the NBA. Steph Curry, he's shooting three-pointers.
They're trying to get a four-pointer now.
Correct. The
really?
dunks.
Yeah,
the
for
dunks.
Sure. They're trying to get a four-pointer now.
The passing yards in football, everything evolves. So these guys that are complaining about the criteria, shut the hell up and lift heavy weights, okay? So there is a natural evolution, and Jeremy already did that evolution when he was winning.
Okay,
I think on his comeback, he's going to be really good? I think he's a master of the craft, and I don't think he's going to come in, surprised by, oh my God, these guys are all different than me.
Well,
he's not going to be surprised.
Well, I'll tell you, Terry, he's a throwback, Jeremy, because he was there, like let's say in football, let's say in basketball, they changed the rules a little bit to soften up the stance on someone getting hurt or the possibility of offending somebody.
Helmet to helmet, roughing,
helmet to helmet. You can't really touch. You can't touch them too much in basketball. So they just getting clear lanes to the dunk. That's probably how Jeremy looks at this category of competitors. Back when he was doing it, when it was hardcore, when you can't go over the middle and catch that pass because someone's gonna knock your head off. You can't just go in the middle of the pack of the, doing the pose down, even the pose down for physique. That was something different before, because you might catch an elbow to the head or something like that, trying to get between someone like myself.
Well, you guys still say they talk a lot of trash up there in the pose down.
Oh yeah,
a lot of trash with the physique guys.
And when we try to get in the middle, when me and Ronnie Coleman was trying to get in the middle also, and you trying to get in between that, you had hell to pay.
So let me ask you this, because this is a question for both of you, but when you weren't training in a closed gym during Gavin Newsom's shutdown in California, when you were
with Jeremy,
when you were out there doing a band workout on the beach,
right,
before they shut
While
down.
Gavin Newsom was having a party drinking wine. Okay, yeah, you have that footage, okay, and he apologized for it. So I'm going on record saying that, because you have that footage.
No one did that.
So when you weren't training with him, and you're obviously not going to be his trainer for the future, who do you think he's got? Back with Hani? Where does he go?
I don't think that's going to happen with Hani, unless I don't know, unless they bury the hatchet and and decide to do it again.
You're
but
not going
I
back
doubt
to
that-
Hani.
I doubt that's gonna ever happen.
No.
Where do we go?
I think.
But he's got a guy out in Colorado. I don't remember his name, but what gym is that in Colorado?
He's not going back to Hani. That's for sure. I know both of them. Those personalities.
The ship has sailed.
Are very strong. He's training in Colorado with Wadi, and Wadi is a great coach. He's actually a wrestler, former wrestler. He's got tons of experience. He knows the sport, and I think Wadi's going to bring Jeremy at his best. When Jeremy was on the live with Aaron Banks, he said to Aaron Banks, "Why did you block me, dude?"
I heard that.
Are you scared of me?
I heard
Are you
that.
scared of
I don't
me?
know what I did.
Are you insecure? Are you insecure? He called them out.
Yeah, but
And
he said that he don't want nothing to do with
Aaron
it.
Banks is
He ain't here to make
Aaron
friends.
Banks is a Fresno guy, okay?
He's not here
He'll
to make
block
friends.
you and he'll tell you, if you come to my town, I'll block your face. You know what I mean? Those guys are frisky. And they're talking on the live, and I was glad we were on the internet. Otherwise, I would have had to separate them too, you know?
Was it Bakersfield or Fresno where you wrestled?
Bakersfield.
It's right by Fresno.
Bakersfield,
It's
1
hard
hour
enough.
away. 1 hour away.
Ugh, you hard people.
State championship's going to be there in wrestling this year. I might have to go.
Well, it's going to be a trip to see.
That's hard enough to live in Bakersfield. You're wrestling in Bakersfield?
Dude, the
Nothing against
smell-
Bakersfield, one of
but
the most exotic
once
places on earth.
Once you get past the turkey shit smell and the cows, it's pretty cool.
No,
Yeah.
it's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Can't wait to spend vacation with the kids there.
Yeah,
Go Road Runners, Bakersfield Road Runners.
You need a new travel agent. I grew up not far from there, and it is truly Bakersfield. We love you. One of the armpits of California.
Ming Avenue, you got them all.
Yeah. Oh, you got them all now.
Oh yeah, had them all back then.
Dropping some bombs.
Don't worry
Well,
about
we're
that.
excited to see what Jeremy brings. We're also excited to see what guys do. I was excited to see Ryan Terry make a comeback after taking a couple years off. One of my favorite physiques.
Man, those abs are incredible.
Oh. There was the other guy that won out of Texas. He won 3 shows and then had some medical issues.
If I had those abs, my wife wouldn't need restoration hardware.
no, but you got the Wayfair abs, unfortunately.
I got the Costco abs.
We're excited to see what everybody brings to the Olympia, and we're excited about our final segment of Primetime Muscle, which we will get to right after we come back. All right, we're back, and we are here for a talk, guys, that could go a lot of ways. And we'd like to
sure.
say,
Let's do that.
like, comment, share, subscribe, and
Tell us what you think.
yeah, just don't reach out to our HR department because the
What you
following
think.
opinions do not reflect the views of JW Media or anybody involved outside of Primetime Muscle. Thank you.
Everyone says things coming out of their mouth. They're responsible for that. You're responsible for yours, Tarek, and you know the drill.
So, this is one of the biggest things going around right now. Who trains hard? Who trains old school? Who doesn't?
Who can use it?
Who could use it? You're on the Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding. We're not. Start things off, Chris.
Well, Derek Lunsford can use it. It's first person I think of. You have Samson can get, I think, a little bit more intense with his physique, his training.
So when we talk old school, let's stop there though. Let's go back. You say intensity, but you mean something different than the young bloods that just mean, throw a lot of weight, pound it out. You have a different mindset.
My mindset is different from what a lot of people would think is intensity. My mindset is different from the right and wrong. I mean, I've been through the hard knocks. I went through the trenches as a young tyke, as a teenager, training with Robbie Robinson. He is intense. I've seen him doing deadlifts at 45 years old, 650 pounds off the ground, deadlifts. I mean, and at the time, I was too cocky, too young to understand what he wanted me to do in the gym, and too cocky. I can, too egotistical. I would say, to want to lift a lighter weight in order to get the muscle looking a certain way. I'd rather take the less pain, heavier weight, lower repetitions, grabbing the 80s and 100s instead of using 45s for my biceps. That's some of the stuff that, I was just too, that's what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to squeeze in the weight. He wanted me to do all that stuff. But I wasn't ready at the time mentally to take on that type of pain that it takes. You got to be okay with that type of pain and okay with going through the burn and of the muscle.
So, Chris, just a quick question here. Were you doing more high-intensity training or more high-volume training?
I was doing 525 on the incline press for 4 repetitions, and I was doing 200-pound dumbbells on a regular basis on a flat bench and the incline press.
I get that, but would that be considered high-intensity training or high-volume? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, that strikes me as high-intensity.
Okay, but the thing is, Tarek, is I did everything you could think of in this.
No, but just answer the question. Based on what you're describing, this looks to be high-intensity training. Yes or no?
Low volume, high intensity training.
Yes? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because there was something in the internet that
I knew he was going there. I knew he was going to do it.
I know, I'm just like...
Hey, man, I just want to clarify things.
All right.
This is Primetime Muscle, is the most respected show in bodybuilding. Just the facts. We don't back down. There were rumors on the internet that Chris Cormier didn't lift heavy weights, that he was using fake weights in the past.
And I was just pumping.
And for some reason, him and his friends didn't lift heavy weights. Does that confirm, or is that not true?
We lifted everything you could think of in the gym, as far as different styles, different portions of training, but we were the hardest trained people in the gym. And that was myself, Flex Wheeler, and Rico McClinton.
You guys lifted heavy.
We're the boys from Venice.
High intensity.
And everybody knew it.
Yeah.
So if you're following Tarek's scorecard at home of all the rumors and speculation about Chris, this is the one that's false.
No, they said on the internet that, I don't know if they mentioned Chris or not, but Chris was in the middle of a controversy. Chris, what was the controversy about?
Well, I mean, it's just that, people of color didn't train high intensity. They use the term Dorian Yates style, but it's actually Arthur Jones style, not Dorian Yates style. Dorian Yates was taught this from the Menser brothers,
Mike and
Ray Menser, and he came to California not to train with Charles Glass, which a lot of people were doing. I wasn't even at the time. At the time, I was with Gary Stridham. So I trained with the old school guys that I felt that's going to help me get better. And like I said, mentally you got to be ready for that time, that mentality. So then when I come to, when I started training, I was strong. Like I went into the gym to I went all the way to Venice thinking in my mind, because someone told me that helped me from the start. If you're not inclining 400 pounds, then you ain't doing shit. So that was in my mind throughout my whole career, and that's one of the parts that I wanted to do, is make sure I was able to do 400 pounds, and I was doing 15, 16 reps with that.
So bottom line, what you're saying is, regardless of where you come from, where you're going, some people do high intensity, lift heavy ass weights, and some people just do high volume.
Yeah, the brothers did that. The brothers.
Regardless, some people choose. I grew up watching Dorian Yates and Chris Cormier lifting heavy ass weights, which you would qualify them as high intensity. It's hard for me to say that Ronnie Coleman was doing high volume. he was training a lot of sets, but his intensity was humongous.
Crazy.
So Johnny Jackson? Can you tell me that when Johnny Jackson was doing high volume? That's high intensity. So just to clarify here, you can come from Siberia, you can be pink, you can like, Sesame Street. Regardless, you can do high intensity or high volume. That's just the bottom line.
How did the Middle Easterns train? How did the Asian population?
There's some Middle Easterns that like high intensity. There's some Middle Easterns that like high volume.
Can't just group them all in one.
No, there's some guy in India that likes high intensity. There's some guy in India that likes high volume.
So let's get down to business here, fellas. You look at these new guys, and you've alluded to this. I don't know if you've done it on camera or not, but I'm about to out you. Was it Blessing or Andrew Jack, you said, could really turn up his training and make a big difference?
Both.
Okay.
I'm going to say both. And, I try to reach out to these guys, just as an original guy that really did it, and knowing the things that I've been through. Been in the gym for 40 plus years, been in the gym before that. But as far as paying attention to competition for the last 40 years, and I know for a fact, Blessings, he had a little situation with his leg the other day. He said he's fine. You're never going to know till you start to push that body part again to be for sure. Hopefully, he can even come out west and do something out there down to San Diego and see if
you want these guys to come live at Camp Cormier for a couple of days or a week and learn. Yeah,
Camp Cormier, because I've done it. I've been through there, and then I see a lot of people think they're training. They think they're doing the best. They're saying the word squeeze. They're doing all the right things. They're posting up their stuff. Are they really getting out of it that old school feel of training?
Well, Milos posted, he was on a podcast, and the big thing was these guys filming themselves are making too many nice faces and blowing out air too sweetly to actually be training hard. He said, what is this? That's a set? That's intensity?
Bro, you go to gyms nowadays, and some of these guys are filming their workouts, and you're looking at the weight they're doing. I'm like, dude, have you no shame?
But for what?
You should have been smacked on the face. Guys are doing like 10 pounds, and they have their buddy filming. That's embarrassing.
But
you only film if you're doing 200 pounds.
Why don't you gain some muscle on your body and develop some muscle, and then I don't know. Everyone's got to start somewhere. I get it, but why don't you go through all those paces, get that connection going, that mind-muscle connection everyone talks about all the time, and then after years and years of training, then you put out some motivational post. You pick up the guy that's beneath you, get him up to a different level. I get all that. But the time that I would spend when I train with Dorian, there's no way in hell I want anything to do with a tripod.
I mean,
going from one station to the next.
Nowadays, guys, before joining the gym, they're like, "Hey, guys, I'm joining."
I'm walking in.
Hey, I was in Brazil.
I'm walking in.
I was in Brazil, and these girls are working out. They're like, developed. They look like to be competitors, and they're working out, and they have these tights, right? And they're doing some exercises, and they're filming each other. And I'm thinking to myself, dude.
They got the outfit on.
Like they got the outfit, those tights that go in there, and they're filming each other.
All up in there.
And I'm like, man, if it was my time, you would have called the police.
They got the outfit.
You would have been like, ladies, what are you doing here? Now nobody stops. It's completely natural. And that stuff goes on Instagram. You don't even need Playboy anymore.
And they already got their Instagram name posted up there too. They got some kind of curvy this or
heavy leg workout. Every 13-year-old in the world couldn't care less about your workout. We all know what you're doing.
Yes.
We all know what you're doing.
And one of my favorites lately is posting a video and the girl said, "What's he looking at? You're naked. You're naked and you're doing glute bridges."
Such a creep. Such a creeper.
Hey, don't cancel us, girls.
Yeah, don't cancel. And by the way, we love all the other channels. We love all the discussions. We love all the internet channels. We're big supporters.
Nick Trigilli, we see you, baby.
Nick Trigilli.
Shout out to Big Nick.
Desktop bodybuilding.
We love you. Who loves you, baby?
All these discussions just make us better. Girls,
That's right.
Please.
It's only discussion.
Just don't.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
No.
No, don't keep her doing what you're
So circling back, fellas, Tarek, sitting in that judge's table, you have the best lighting and the best views, but you're looking up there thinking, density of muscle, mature muscle bellies that comes from just going after it, heavy, intense, connected to the muscle. Who are some of those guys now that could really...
Hadi Choopan, come on.
He's someone who
That's
has
separation.
Hadi's
That's
hard.
years and years of shoulder workout, of chest workout. That's years and years where the phone was in the bag.
Yes,
years and years where nobody was filming him, and that Persian Wolf was just like, I haven't had water in the desert. I'm just going to work out and suck the water out of the weights afterwards.
Yeah, we got to give him a lot of respect. Give me a little camera time, please. You always got it on Tarek. Hadi is one of the hardest working Mr. Olympias we had since, I don't know, Dorian Yates type of thing. He was just trying to get back into the gym. That was his mindset. As soon as the show is over, he's ready to get back into the gym. And we salute you for that. Hadi, we salute you, baby, here at Primetime Muscle. Keep us watching. Keep your friends watching. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think about Hadi Choopan's work ethic.
So, work ethics, you got the inside track on some of these other guys. Who else could come out to Camp Cormier and turn it up a notch?
Lee Labrada, the son of the son of the father.
Yes, the father, the son.
The father of the son.
The son of the father. This is the second time you go there, man.
I said that on purpose.
No, you didn't,
I
man.
did that on purpose.
We know you didn't. You messed it up again.
No, you know what happened?
Okay.
Let me tell you what happened. Can you look at me again, please? Look at me again. What happened was, and I can show you the receipts, because I got the receipts right here. I've been talking to Lee about some other things, that we're going to be talking about in the future. So he was heavily on my mind when I came. He saw the DM, had his phone number, and I put it in my phone. So I'll be in touch this week, Lee.
Back to the son of the father. So you think... Now, I've been out to the Win the Day gym, and it doesn't seem like Hunter's missing
Hunter. No, he could do more, man. I'm telling you, bro. He's got more in the tank. What he's showing now, he showed some little improvement that I saw most recently. But yeah, that's a guy that I know that I can get more out of than what he's doing.
And by the way, fellas, that Labrada headquarters where Hunter and Lee and the other guys train has to be the single most badass home gym ever created.
Yeah.
That thing's insanely cool.
For sure, man. And they're just adding pieces that's going to make him better and better still. And, I've been there, like I said, I was the first OG to go through those doors. And
Second, right after Lee.
Yeah, after Lee.
Yeah.
Well, that's his home.
So let's lose a couple more friends. Who else? Who else would you call out on this?
Could use more. Shoot.
Akeem. Oh, man. I love Akeem Williams, those huge arms. If he spent 3 months working out that back with Chris Cormier, boy, that guy would just crush.
Yeah, we did some stuff together when we were out in Kuwait with me and Akeem. He's a hard worker. He's just going to go as hard as the person that's pushing him, but he's a big locomotive that can still show some improvement and still show he can even be good 20% better than what he's doing right now.
All right, I had a great discussion. Tarek, awesome as always to be with you. Chris, I'm going to shout you out again.
Shout me out.
You and I have had some awesome discussions over the last year, and you waited too long in your career to take Dorian's advice.
Oh yeah. And that's what I see a lot of these guys do, man, and they do it over and over again, that you waiting to pull a trigger on your career when you're not doing everything. You know damn well you're not doing everything in your power. Like if I could reach out to Lee Haney back in the day, I would have had my ass in Atlanta at Animals Kingdom training with Lee Haney if I could do it. I would have done more as much as I could and I was around some of the best. I'm in the bathroom with Joe Weider learning poses. It's not just I didn't just make this stuff up. You can't just think you're gonna stay in your trust your instincts slogans I see all over the place. It's not about instinctive. Someone's gotta know and done that shit and then they're going to put you on game. You got to put you up on game. There's no way you're going to come here and you got mind-muscle connection because you could read and you say a lot of these big words and you could get on the internet and start using a lot of big words and be moving like a snail. I could just take a nap on a lot of these workouts that I see. Don't cancel me, guys. I'm only kidding about that. Don't cancel me.
No, he is serious. Don't be afraid to reach out to the OGs like a real deal Chris Cormier.
Don't be afraid, man.
Talk to the judges.
You only got a certain amount of time to
Always
do this.
available.
You only got a certain amount of time.
And if you need to reach out to us, follow, like, subscribe to Primetime Muscle.
Comments.
As always, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Primetime Muscle.